And okay. Right. Welcome to another Secret Influence TV interview. So Secret Influence is a YouTube channel to help you become better influencers, because I believe that influencing is one of the most important skills, and if you can't influence people, you won't be able to get customers, and clients won't be able to get sales. If you can't influence people in your job interview, you won't get a job. Influencing is one of the most important skills in your life. It's no good enough just to say what you do or what your product or service is. You need better influence people to understand why they should do business with you, why your product is better than other people's. It's all about the why. So in Secret Interview channels, interviews, I interview people who inspire or influence. I believe you all have a story to tell or expertise to share, and that's how we influence others. So today I'm very excited to be talking to Nicole, and Nicole Weatherby is a graphic design company, and she's got a great story, and also we're sharing about how important graphic design is with creating a unique brand and using that to influence or inspire other people. So welcome, Nicole. Welcome to Secret Influence TV.
Thank you.
And I believe you're joining us from South Africa today?
I am indeed, yes. The nice sunny South Africa.
Lovely. So this is a live call from London to South Africa. So there's wonders of Zoom technology. So just to start, how did you get it? So tell us, share what you do. So what's the name of your company and what does your company do?
So the company's name is Greenhouse Media. So what I do is I specialize actually in digital designs. So you have different types of designers out there. So you have your web designers, your UI/UX, your illustrators. So I'm focused on digital designs. So I help web developers, I help social media marketing, I help events. I love my logos. Anything digital that can go out there that anyone can see and relate to, interactive, Greenhouse Media can assist.
It's a quick question on the name of your company. How did you choose the name of your company?
Yeah, that was it's actually a bit of a story. It was actually a collaboration between my sister, my late mother Diane, and myself. So green is my favorite color. And as you know, every color symbolizes something different. And green in itself symbolizes growth, health, tranquility. And the house came in our remote from home. So that's where the house came in. And I actually studied multimedia art. So they named it Greenhouse Media. So it's sort of a combination, all three of us. Yes.
I've heard somewhere, there's a lot of psychology on colours, and green is meant to be one of the most trustworthy colours. Yes. And if you ever use green in your branding, it's a good, reassuring colour, and it's one of the best colours for calls to action, apparently.
Yes, it also symbolizes safety. So lots of people like that, obviously, in today's world.
Yeah, I think it's why not just obviously health, but a lot of health companies use green, because it's not just the green nature, but also because it's within that reassuring, safety, healthy association. So I'm a copywriter, and I'm passionate about the potential for writing to influence audience, if it's done properly, to get people to do that call to action, to help share your story. And I love writing. So ever since I was like 9 years old, I was always writing stories. And then as I grew up, I wrote in marketing jobs, and then now I write for myself. How did you get into graphic design? I know you've got an interesting story to share. So yeah, how did you able to not?
I'll put it in short, but how I got into design was actually through art itself. Okay. So I had a hearing I wasn't deaf, but I had a hearing disability when I was younger.
Okay.
And I was a complete introvert. So the way I would communicate was through drawings and how I'd relax and tell my story. So I actually did my degree through UNISA in South Africa, which landed in my honors. But it was visual arts and multimedia combined. And then I decided, no, I wanted to actually explore outside South Africa. And I went to the UK and I actually did my master's in media art at Manchester Metropolitan University.
All right.
And the funny thing was, it was a whole interactive exhibition at the end, explaining my story of a hearing disability. So you would enter this dark space and there was a kaleidoscope on a table in the middle and a light shining on it. And once you entered the space, the people that dared would pick up the kaleidoscope and all the lights would switch on, and an animation would start playing on the adjacent wall or an illustration of the difficulties I had. Like I couldn't do ballet because I didn't have the balance, and things like that. And at the end, my master's lecture actually said, your patience isn't so great in installation, perhaps graphic design is your way forward. It was sort of like, okay, fine. And I came home and I was like, I'll show them. And I just fell in love with graphic design, honestly.
So obviously, yeah, I mean, those challenges you're hearing, it didn't hold you back. Obviously, it's if anything, made you more determined.
Yes, to show that, listen, I've got something to say and you're going to listen now.
I mean, I think it's so. I mean, but everyone has a story. I think genuinely, we all, and that's why we do things, make certain decisions. Is because of what our experience is, and that creates our why. And, if we've got a strong enough why, that gives us some passion, motivation. And when I was young, I was diagnosed dyspraxic, so I was incredibly clumsy and always hurting myself and in hospital, and also was chronically shy, and so it did hold me back when I was left university to get jobs, but I faced my fear, and it took a while, but I joined Toastmasters Club, and I basically now president. So I never for a million years I could speak on stage, but I love it. So I think there is definitely something in facing your fears and proving people wrong in that way. Do things for yourself, but also I think there's definitely I relate to what you're saying. So it's
no, public speaking to me is still quite scary. I can talk to you one-on-one. I know we're live, but put me in front of 100 people and wow. Honestly, that is great.
I think the Zoom makes it a bit easier now.
Oh yes,
because it's little pictures rather than big
yes.
people.
Oh, great.
So talking about graphic design, you said some of the aspects that covers. What do you think graphic design plays a part in? So obviously, it plays a part in branding. How important a part do you think graphic design plays? Obviously, it's a very visual side of branding. What are all the elements it covers? Because people just think of graphic design as in creating a website or logo. They just think of certain specific bits. But if you're creating a brand, why should they go to a graphic designer or a company like yours, for example?
Okay.
If someone's interested in creating your brand,
it's like sort of like creating a unique brand and influencing your potential customer. How do you get there?
Yeah.
All right. So they say that technology creates ideas, where art creates questions and design creates solutions. So in my graphic design, I use all three according to my background, and you optimize the marketing efforts across all channels. It tells people the services and products that you are giving and the type of clientele that you want to attract. It's the first point of contact that a potential client has to a brand. If you don't have a professional design. You know, people will see a logo, and unfortunately they judge something within 7 seconds these days. If you see something, you see a logo and you think it's not really or seen, or it's not very professional, you're not going to go and do business with that person because you think that's how they do business. So yes.
So would you say that the graphic design, you know, the branding you do, it has to reflect the values, you know, the personality of a company or just an individual? You know, it's important that says that.
Yes. So you have to represent the person. That's why the history, the background of the person, why they started the business, what inspires them, what are their values, what are their missions, is so important to convey to a designer before they start, because we can say, well, that looks pretty, but it might mean absolutely nothing to what you're trying to sell. So yes, so important.
And what are the key aspects of great graphic design?
Okay, so there are different elements of graphic design. Okay, so there's line, there's color, there's shape, there's form, there's volume, there's space, there's negative space, there's textures. Okay. There's the golden ratio where, you know, you break a space up into different shapes to show what's where people will look first and where they're going to look last. It's keeping up with the trends, you know, adapting to new programs and the technology that's coming out. Practice, and that's all I can say. It's wow, practice.
With who's your ideal? You know, who are your clients? Do you work mostly with sort of small businesses and sort of entrepreneurs, or big, or a real mixture of sectors? You know, who do you?
I actually work with a mixture of everything, from small companies to big clients. It's those clients that don't have an in-house designer, that they want something different and unique. Those are the type of people I really want to, you know, talk to. So those are so I go from law, I go from IT to photography to tourism. So it's a vast industry. Yeah.
What would you say is you know, what's the biggest challenge you face in your work? Is it badly written briefs? Perhaps is it, you know, is it people not really have an idea what they want? Yeah, what's some of the biggest challenges you face when you're dealing with clients?
In layman's term, literally, people.
Sure.
People. See, it's, you know, you have, obviously it's the brief, but what they see in your head is what you see things completely different, you know, and it's training your clients to see or to know what is the best design to market to their clientele. It's, you know, you're challenging their way of thinking and their way of doing things. Not all of them are tech savvy. They don't understand why you can't have this image here, or why this is not interactive as a JPEG, you know, as just an image. So it's actually teaching people the industry. It's challenging.
It's unrealistic expectations, perhaps, or managing expectations.
Yes. Yeah. It's people in all respects, and it's in all industries, you know, people pay for a Ford, but they expect a Mercedes. Sure. You know, and so it's teaching them how far you can actually go with what they can use.
Yep, no, I get that. I get that, definitely. Another question I ask everyone in interviews, obviously, with all the international challenges of COVID, how have you personally managed to keep motivated? You know, have you any tips for you just personally to?
So actually, I was very lucky in COVID. I must say, in COVID, people realized the importance of getting out there, having their business seen, and doing business, even remotely. And to get there, they have to have marketing and design materials to show people, hello, I exist. So I was actually really, really busy, but to have the downtime, I don't know how I managed it, but I managed to read 31 books in 7 months.
Wow.
And it was all just fantasy and things like that. So it was, you know, it's trying to keep with so much demand every day. It was the reading just took me away, and
Oh.
gave me other creative ideas and other ways of relaxing. That
The books
yeah.
were your sort of escapism, your
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I love books. I'm a real fan. My flat is full of bookshelves. Every time I go to a bookshop, I always walk out with books on my arm. I can't help it. I absolutely love them. Real, yeah, writing a reader. So I know that you very much are. You work for. You're very much into promoting outsourcing, and I think your market is quite international. Why do you think outsourcing is an efficient way to do business? Why do you recommend it? Why do you think a company should look to do that?
I think there are so many benefits, especially US and UK clients, giving their designs to specifically South Africa. Because of the currencies, the different currencies, it's for us, for you to use me, it's a little bit more economical to use us, even though we can charge a little bit more. And it's a win-win situation, in that front. And also, you're getting a different perspective from another side of the world. Every country have their own politics that's going on that influence a designer's thinking and way of designing. And I think it's so beneficial for all of us just to start going international, because it can actually benefit the designs and your company so much more than people actually realize. More than financially, just your brand could really just grow.
And on that side, if anyone was starting up a new company and an entrepreneur and they wanted to create a brand, so before they went to a graphic designer, perhaps what points should they consider? If they were sitting now and perhaps their partners in the business say, right, we need to think what brand we want for a company. What points should they sit down and consider before they then go to graphic designer?
Sure. So this is quite an important question, actually. And to me, it's creating your values and your mission. Okay. Why did you start this company? What's the history? And for me, finding out what the values are for a company was the hardest for me. And it is for most people. Most of them actually don't know what their values are. And what I learned through this career coaching, her name's actually Jelena Rodinjek, I say that properly, from What Work Career Coaching Limited. She said, okay, so in your business, think of the most horrible things people can do to you. What really, really, really irritates you? Then think of the positive. So if you think people taking advantage, well, then respect is one of your values. And that's what you're going to show your clients, and that's what you're going to show your employees. So that is the most important. And obviously, what clientele, who do you want to market to? And obviously, the most important, finding your graphic designer. I know it sounds so silly, but if you do not have a click with the designer, or you just don't have that relationship, that's not the designer.
Okay, that makes sense. No, good tips. No, good tips. Yeah, good tips. You might. Is there a favorite brand? Whether it's that you admire, you respect, you think, wow, they've done it well. Yeah. Is there any particular brand that stand out that you think?
That's actually a difficult question, actually. I frustrate my friends and my boyfriend when we go driving around places, because I'll stare at something and be like, I like that. Or I buy a bottle of wine or gin and I absolutely love the label, and I'll steal it and I'll stick it in. So it's not a specific brand. It's the trend, because every year there's a trend. Just like fashion design and everything, graphic design have trends every year and a new color representing the year. Sure. And so it's not a specific brand that sticks out, but it's a specific style of design that pops out, like that, the pop art, or the fine art or Black Lives Matter, like that type of design that's popping out, retro illustrations. That's what's sticking out for me. right
it's
now.
it's interesting you say that, because I do a similar thing when whenever I see adverts like on the side of buses or big posters in the street. They've only got sort of obviously seconds to catch your attention as you walk past, so they have to be very eye-catching and quite clever. And some of them I think are amazing. They're literally 4 words an image, but they are very quite funny. I'm always taking a picture of the good ones and sharing them on Instagram. So and that becomes my little sort of swipe file. I mean, so I have a like a swipe file of, or I collect clever copywriting, and I use it to inspire myself and use it. Do you find yourself doing that? Collecting examples
yes, 100%. Obviously I do research a lot. You have to do a lot of research to keep up, and just certain people's designs, I'm just like you said, like just those social media posts, it's 4 words and then the rest of it's just visuals, and the visuals just explain everything. And those are the type of things that I have so many art boards and Pinterest that I'm saving everyone's artworks and all the freelancing sites. So yes, I do exactly the same. I take photos of posters on lamp posts, and yes, exactly the same.
I think definitely. It's like I encourage people. I train copywriting, I encourage them to do it. I think it's one of the common things in business, running a business, in your marketing, to have a little
it's
file.
The way you learn.
That's where you learn. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My next question is, so graphic design, I guess it reflects for changes over the years, where we before I mean, when I was starting out and everything was offline mostly, and I used to write for mostly offline things, and then the web, obviously everything develops into websites and internets, and then now it's moving more towards social media. Have you noticed that big change? I mean, do you still do, if everything's about social media now, and how important is it to have a consistency, of your brand, your graphic design across the websites and the different channels?
Oh, it's so important. So right now, obviously, social media and app development is so important. Okay. People say, oh, websites aren't important anymore, have an app. But the thing is, not every business should have apps. And websites are still important. Like paper is still important, websites are still important. And that shift in, when I create a brand, it's not just the logo. From there, you have to think of the email signature, which then has to have a link to your website, to your social media. And in a business, social media is different. Like I can benefit from Facebook and Instagram because it's visual. Sure. Where you can benefit from LinkedIn and Twitter because it's content rich. Sure. And it helps with, businesses don't understand that social media is so important because it helps, and blogging, because it helps with your search engine optimization, your SEO. And everything relates. It's backlinks from your website to your social media back to, and it's all so important. Because that's what people first do. They search for you either on your website or your social media.
When if people would come to you and they started to create a brand, and they want to chat about the different graphic design elements of it, does it matter if they haven't, do you advise them on which channels they should use? Does it not matter, because what with the branding you supply in that way can be used, for all of them? Do you?
It does matter. Honestly, it does matter. And I take them through this process of creating a brand, because you can't just start with an email signature and a business card and you don't have a logo, and like I said, if you have, if a doctor has a Instagram page or a Facebook page, people are going to be like, it's the type of professions where they should be. And culinary, visuals, designers, photographers, we're all on Instagram because people love that visually rich platform, where the content based is more LinkedIn and Twitter. So yes, it is so important. You can't just be on any social media or any blogging. Yes, you have to use the correct channels. And
another thing I find, so I think part branding is it's all about telling the story, which is obviously the why you set up the business, why you do the business, who you want to help and why. And do you agree that the graphic design is helping visually tell that story? Is that? Is that what it is really? You know, do you think that the
Yes.
storytelling is something that fits into what?
Exactly. So like I said, graphic design is the solution. So when you have text and a visual, people will remember the visual many days after, where with the text they forget within half an
Sure.
hour, you know. And when you want to, like you said, when you go past a poster on a lamppost, you have there's the four texts, and then it's the visual that grabs your attention, that tells the story. It is so important to be people becoming lazy these days, and I don't mean that with any disrespect, but we are
Sure.
so spoiled with information just given to us, you know, that to grab people's attention, like even videos from 1 minute has gone to 10 seconds to keep people's attention.
Sure.
And to have a visual to tell the story of what you're promoting is more important than the text. Obviously,
Sure.
you have the text to give a headline to be like, ooh, but
no, I agree. I mean, I agree.
yes,
You know, because I love what I say is that important. You know, headline is the most important thing where there's text, because if people don't read past the headline, then it doesn't matter how good the rest of the copy is. You know, if they don't read past the headline. So, but I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's all about catching people's attention, and you know, for myself, that's writing. You know, powerful headlines. But you know, when I walk past these big billboards on the streets, these huge posters, it's either the big slogan that catches my attention or it's the image.
yes.
But you know, it's yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Do you have any sort of just sort of final tips, you know, you would share with about how to? So you mentioned earlier about, you know, if you want to work with a graphic designer, you know, choose someone you can get on well with, you connect with. What before you contact graphic designer, you know, I think you touched on this earlier about, you know, what to think, points to think about. But is there, what should you do? You know, think of your story, think of your values, your why. Is there anything else you should do to prepare?
Yes, do your own research.
Sure.
See, you know, just for yourself, look. So in your industry, if this helps, so you are a chef, go and research other chefs industry, look at your competition in your area. Obviously, don't look at someone else in another country because there's a whole different culture. Look at someone literally in your area. Why are they popular? You know, what's bringing the people to them? Do your research. And the more information you have to give to a designer, you know, the more they can work with. And at the end of the day, the logo is going to be spot on. You're going to get the clientele. You're going to, you know, also, nothing is for free. Okay. So
Sure.
just going back there, nothing is for free. So what you pay for is what you're going to get.
Yes, no, great. I actually just thought of another question. So about reviewing your branding, because I know, you know, I've changed my own branding a few times and tweaked it. When do you know? You know, I know big organizations, big huge companies, they spend millions to rebrand themselves sometimes. When would you know that it's time to rebrand your, you know, look at rebranding or change your branding?
So so that's actually changed now. So it went from a website had to be updated once every 5 years. Now it's once every 3 years.
Okay.
So it's the same with logo. Like Coca-Cola has, and even Apple have changed their logos from once every 10 years to once every 5 years to now once every 3 years.
Okay.
So you actually have to start looking at that. Like I say, once every 3 years maximum, have a look. If it makes you cringe, if you look at people in your industry and your logo makes you cringe, it's time, really. The same with your website, same with everything.
I suppose at the end of the day, like everything, you have to ask, get feedback from your audience, you know, perhaps your followers, your clients, or you know, get their feedback about your branding.
Yes.
You know,
Like,
is it still positive for you?
Exactly, and it's not about changing everything, you know.
Sure.
It's just a slight little, because Apple, as you see, if you research Apple, it's still the Apple, you know.
Yes.
It's just it went from multicolored to shine to just as gray. to this minimalism.
It's a subtle.
So yeah, so it's just subtle changes. You don't have to do this whole huge, because your brand, your clients still know your brand. And like you said, consistency. So you just need people don't like change. So it's just a little into the new era.
Yeah, I think I heard that. The people who do rebranding well are ones who do lots of little subtle changes rather than sort of one or two big changes.
100%.
People like, you're more likely to affect people positively if you do lots of little touch points, lots of little subtle things. So it's like communications. If you do lots of little subtle reminders, you're more likely to influence people than if you just do a big, loud shout out message.
100%.
Well, it's coming towards the end of our interview, Nicola. But was there anything else that But is there anything else you wanted to share? Any sort of final thoughts or?
Well, all I can say, sure, I'm running out of airtime as well. To upcoming graphic designers, those that just don't take a bite at a time. You might see this amazing graphic, which happened to me as well. You see these amazing designs and you're like, oh, I could never do that. But your style is different to everyone. Everyone has a different style, and don't ever feel someone is better than you. There might always be someone better, but you're always going to be better than someone else. And take that person who you feel is better than you and learn from them, learn their styles, and that's just going to better yourself. Don't ever think you're not good enough.
That is fantastic. That's where I like to start and end these interviews with some inspiration. And I think we've ticked both boxes here. You've shared some words of inspiration, motivation, but obviously also lots of great tips on how to influence your audience by using the power of graphic design to build up a unique brand and the role that plays. So yeah, I'm Nick Ronald, and I run Secret Influence TV. And I'm a copywriter, and I am an influence training consultant. So thank you very much, Nicole. That's the end of our interview, but I will share your details below this video. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Nicole about any graphic design projects, obviously, do get in touch. And she's obviously an expert in the field. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Nick, and I really appreciate your time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, thanks.